Welcome back to Amnesty by Nadine Gordimer. In this third video, we learn the summary of the story. The narrator of the short story Amnesty is a young South African woman, the fiancée of a nameless protagonist. The story is set in a farm owned by the Boers. When the story begins, the man is released from prison. The narrator is extremely happy because he had been away for years. 9 years earlier, the young man had gone away for work, but he used to come home for the holidays. At that time, he had asked the narrator's father permission to marry her. Here you have the picture of a South African village woman. So the story is about a woman, and the woman is working and living in the farm owned by the Boers. Who are the Boers? They are the land owning class of South Africa. They actually are people who are Dutch or Huguenots and who had settled in South Africa in the late 17th century. So they owned the farm, and these black South Africans, they worked for them in the farm. They did not own the place that they lived in. And both the narrator and her fiancé were engaged to get married later when he started working in the town. He went to work in the town, and this woman was in the farm, and they had decided to get married soon. Soon after, the fiancé became involved in politics and was imprisoned, so they couldn't get married. While her fiancé awaited trial, the narrator was able to visit. During this time, their daughter was born. The child was named Inkululeko by him. His comrades gave her some money as a present. After the trial, he was sentenced for 6 years of imprisonment in the island. The island refers to Robben Island. It is a notorious prison that once held Nelson Mandela among other political prisoners. So those who fought against apartheid, they were imprisoned here in the island. You can see the island in the water there. The narrator had never seen the sea and could not even imagine a land surrounded by water. She could only imagine a cake of dung, cow dung, dropped by the cattle, floating in a pool of rainwater they had crossed. So this was her image of an island because she had never seen the sea. Her fiancé was allowed to write one letter a month, and since his parents could not read, it was her letter. She used to read the letter to his parents and write letters for them. She used to ask his parents what they wanted to convey to their son. His mother always cried, and his father used to tell that he was praying for his son. And when she sent this letter to this man, he was not happy. He wrote back, "That's the trouble. Our people on the farms, they are told God will decide what's good for them, so that they won't find the force to do anything to change their lives." So, as a member of the movement, as a person who was fighting for apartheid, he was not happy. Was this that his people did not fight against this injustice? They only prayed. He was not happy with that. 2 years passed like that, and she hadn't seen him. And after 2 years, they had saved enough money that she and his parents decided to go to the island to meet him in the prison. The island was near Cape Town, so they decided to visit him in the Cape Town. but they couldn't go to the island as they did not have the permit with them. They had no idea how to go to the island. If they wanted to go to the island, they needed a permit which they did not have. They took the train to Cape Town, and then there was a ferry to the island. It was when they were about to get into the ferry that they realized that they did not have the permit, and they sent the things that they had brought for him through other people. But her fiance was not happy that they could not get to him, partially because he was unhappy about their ignorance about how to get into the island. And he even scolded her in a way by telling that it was not okay that she didn't know about the permit. After that, the narrator and the parents of her fiancé could not visit him in the island as they could not find enough money for the journey. By the time he came home after 5 years of imprisonment in the island, 3 years had passed since she met him. She had not enough time to build a house for them to live in with a child. He came home in town's clothes and polished shoes. Even during the trial, all the accused, his comrades, were well dressed. The union bought the clothes so that the judge and the prosecutor would know they weren't dealing with stupid yes boss black men who didn't know their rights. So it was a strategy of the union for which he worked the movement. And they wanted the people who were fighting against the whites wearing good clothes so that the whites know that they are fighting against people who knew their rights. They were all very excited when he came home. He came home while this woman was working in the farm. She wanted to go and wash her hands, but she couldn't. He was stretching his arms and hugging her mother and her. His father had passed away by that time. So they didn't have a house, they didn't get married, and the child who hadn't seen her father for a long time, the child was unable to relate to the father, and she had never known him as a person. She had only seen his picture. We'll continue with the summary of the story in our next video. Thank you.